What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel, where in today's video we are going to be looking into a new reveal from Star Wars, which seems to be pointing to it becoming all the more likely that Qui-Gon Jinn will appear in the Kenobi TV series. Now, I've given you guys my thoughts on this, and I've told you time and time again that I do think it's very likely that Qui-Gon Jinn will appear in this series, and if he doesn't, I think it's pretty much a guarantee that we will at least hear his voice, because to me that's one of the big plot points for the Kenobi series, or at least it should be, considering what was set up in Revenge of the Sith and how Obi-Wan did eventually learn to become a Force ghost. So in episode 3, Yoda has already communicated with Qui-Gon through the Force after Qui-Gon's death. Qui-Gon is already a Force ghost. It's unknown if he ever learned how to manifest his body, but he can communicate to others through the Force, but Obi-Wan still has to learn that. And in this excerpt from the new novel titled Skywalker, A Family at War, there is this short description about Obi-Wan and his life on Tatooine. So the book is about the Skywalkers. It chronicles the history of the Skywalker family and covers their story throughout the entire saga, from episode 1 all the way to episode 9. But it does go into a little bit of detail on certain characters here and there. You know, characters that had a big influence on this family or played a pivotal role in the story. There's some background information on them. And in this excerpt, we get a little bit of background about Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine. And so here's a quote from the book that could potentially line up very well with the Kenobi series and allow Qui-Gon Jinn to appear as a Force ghost, of course. So, here it is. Shortly after his arrival on Tatooine, he became known as Old Ben among the children of Mos Eisley and the sprawling surrounding settlements, an eccentric hermit of no import. Kenobi's beard and hair turned gray, the harsh environment and the stress of all he'd endured aging him rapidly. For years, he remained hidden, yet cautiously vigilant. He studied the Tusken Raiders and their culture, wishing to understand their brutish nature. And in the stillness, he expanded his knowledge of the Force. Before he and Yoda had parted ways, the old Jedi revealed that Obi-Wan's beloved master, Qui-Gon Jinn, had returned from the netherworld of the Force, manifesting his conscious mind even after death. It took 10 years, but eventually, Obi-Wan was able to commune with his dearest friend, resurrected within the cosmic Force. Okay, so not only does this sound like a clear setup for Qui-Gon to appear in the Kenobi series, or at least to communicate with Obi-Wan. We don't know if we'll see him in the flesh or not, but at the very least, it does seem like a very obvious setup for what's to come. But it also feels like a prelude for the entire series as a whole. It sets up some things that I think we're definitely going to see now. I think we will see Obi-Wan interacting with the Tusken Raiders, studying them and learning their ways, like this excerpt says. I think we'll see him communicating with Qui-Gon. I think we'll see him watching over Luke. I think we'll see him suffering from some of that post-traumatic stress from Order 66 and from his past with Anakin, who has now become Darth Vader. That's another thing that is suggested here, and I think that's the kind of story we're going to be seeing here. And it's important to note, for anyone that doesn't know, the series is set to pick up 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. In this excerpt, it says Obi-Wan took 10 years to commune with Qui-Gon. That cannot just be coincidence that they're setting that up that way right now. Now, as far as the plot for the Kenobi series as a whole, it will be interesting to see what they do, because we don't know if this is going to be like something that starts 10 years after Revenge of the Sith and then they do some time jumps so we get closer and closer to A New Hope, or if it's going to be 6 episodes that all take place within, you know, a few weeks or a few month time span. I think it can work out either way. I think it probably makes sense to keep it within one time period, just, you know, to account for that difference in appearance between Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness. But we will see. We really don't know what's going to happen as far as that goes. But I really do think that this excerpt all but confirms that Qui-Gon will be appearing in the series. Of course, this is not official confirmation, so take that for whatever it's worth to you. But it really does seem to me that Qui-Gon will be appearing. Otherwise, there'd be no need to include this in the novel. People who are reviewing the novel would have said, hey, maybe we shouldn't have this in here because it's really going to build a lot of false hope for the series. So I don't think there's any way that Qui-Gon's not going to appear. You know, it's not something that I'm saying like he absolutely has to appear or I'm going to hate the show. Like, that's not the case at all. If Qui-Gon is not in this show, my hopes are still sky high. He could not appear and I really don't even have that much of a problem with it. Like, it would be a little bit of a letdown because, like I said, I do think that's a big plot point. But he doesn't have to appear for the show to be successful or for the show to satisfy me. And that's the thing about a lot of the things that I say about this, or not even just about this show, but about the movies and the shows as a whole. It's like, I might not want something to happen, or I might want something to happen, like in this case, but at the end of the day, it's all about how they handle it. And I've said this so many times on this channel, but I'm never really going to complain too much about a decision they make unless it's just like, wow, that was horrible. Like, what were you thinking? But if they just choose to ignore a certain plot point and leave that for a different time period, then I'm not going to have a problem with that. I'm not here to complain. I'm just here to enjoy the story and then give my thoughts on that afterward. So like I said, I don't need Qui-Gon to appear, but I would definitely like him to, and I definitely do think that is what is being set up here. But with that being said, I'm going to wrap the video up here, so let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know, once again, what your expectations are for the Kenobi series, what you think about this excerpt, and what you are most looking forward to in the Kenobi series. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like to support the channel, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and of course, may the Force be with you always.